You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day, we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, April 9th. 2019. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story today is from investing.com, and it's the top 5 things to know in the market on Tuesday. First thing to know about is what's on Trump's new front in the trade war. President Donald Trump has opened a new front in the U.S. trade war with the rest of the world. The administration is threatening tariffs on $11 billion on imports from the European Union to compensate the U.S. for alleged damage done to Boeing by what the U.S. sees as unfair subsidies to its rival Airbus. The move is the latest development in a dispute over subsidies to the 2 aircraft makers going back 14 years. Second thing to know today is Wall Street was set for a flat to lower open. U.S. stock markets were set for a slightly lower open pre-open in response to the discouraging news of further trade conflicts. In Europe, markets were mostly lower ahead of a key day for Brexit, with U.S. Prime Minister Theresa May set to meet her French and German counterparts ahead of an EU summit on Wednesday. The third thing to know today is oil hits new highs. Oil prices continued to climb as fighting in Libya intensified, raising the threat to the country's crude exports. The price for the benchmark WTI futures contract hit $64.78 overnight, its highest level in over 5 months. Rising prices have emboldened investors to place over $85 billion in bids for oil company Saudi Aramco's debut bond, which will be priced later today, probably at a yield below that of its owner, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Not all the signs are bullish, though. Bloomberg reported earlier Tuesday that Venezuela had restarted one of 4 upgrading facilities it uses to process its crude for export. They do this while Reuters said Russia will want to raise its output when its current deal with OPEC on supply cuts expires in June. At 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the American Petroleum Institute is due to present its weekly report on crude stocks. The consensus forecast for the official government estimate of crude stocks is for 2.51 million barrels increase last week. The government's numbers will come out on Wednesday. The fourth thing to know today is Alcon returns. Eye care giant Alcon returns to public markets under its own name 11 years after being bought by Swiss healthcare giant Novartis. The $50 billion acquisition was notorious for its poor timing only months before the collapse of Lehman Brothers. Novartis is spinning the unit off in the New York and Zurich exchanges with a market value of barely half that amount. And the fifth thing to note today is Wynn bids $7.1 billion for Crown. Entertainment and gambling stocks will be in focus after Wynn Resorts offered to buy Australian-based Crown Resorts for $7.1 billion. The deal is a sign of accelerating consolidation in the traditional gambling industry, which faces disruption from online players. Crown's board is yet to consider the proposal. Our second story today is from NASDAQ.com, and it's titled Mixed Message: What the Bond Markets Are Saying. The yield curve, which plots Treasury yields across the maturity spectrum, serves as an indicator for the health of markets and the economy. A normal curve slopes upward from the short to long ends. Recently, the curve inverted to a dipper shape, with the 3-month Treasury bills yielding more than the 10-year Treasury bonds for the first time since 2007. What happened? The Federal Reserve recently signaled a halt in the rate hikes, which effectively anchored front-end yields to their current spot. At the same time, longer-term yields declined, notably in the 1 to 10-year range, as investors concerned about Brexit and slowing global growth bid up bond prices. Bond yields and prices move in opposite directions. The market even began to price in an interest rate cut, which has deepened the inversion even more. An inverted yield curve has often signaled a recession on the horizon. Is that what's about to happen? The National Bureau of Economic Research defines a recession as a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy lasting more than a few months. The previous definition, 2 consecutive quarters of decline in real GDP, was changed in 2010. However, the U.S. Federal Reserve still projects positive economic growth over the near term. The more upbeat forecast is reflected in the corporate bond market. Credit spreads, which is the extra yield above Treasury yields, demanded on riskier corporate bonds usually increases before recessions or market downturns, yet today, credit spreads are still below average and have been declining since the beginning of the year. Currently, the investment-grade corporate bond has a spread of 124 basis points, which is 1.24%. That's well below its long-term average of 150 basis points. In other words, the corporate bond market is drawing a more favorable economic picture, a picture with few indications of recession. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is news you can use for today, April 9th, 2019, your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Trade smart. Have a great day.
The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.